My name's Andrea Santamaria. I'm a national grade referee and I'm here taking part in the Manchester Open. I've been involved in squash since about 18, started playing when I was 18, 19, and it's a big part of my life. I enjoy playing the game. I've played some club squash, leagues, local leagues, and just enjoyed the atmosphere. I'm getting older. As you said, there are very few women referees, and as a way of keeping involved in the sport, I saw going into refereeing as a way of keeping in the sport once I'm unable to play, basically. The thing is, you've got the best seat in the house to watch a fantastic game of squash. It gets you involved on the tour, meet the players. Yes, it can be very stressful at times. You know, nobody wants to be sat there. It's stressful from the players, stressful from the crowd, because everybody's the best referee when they're sat watching a squash match. You know, it's everybody's got an opinion. So yeah, you've got to have a thick skin. But I think the pros definitely outweigh the cons. You know, you're there surrounded. It's a great atmosphere. There's no other sport where you sat amongst the crowd and soaking all that up. And when you've got a good match, it's well worth being there. You know, as somebody that's played squash and then moving on to be a referee, that's the best, you know, experience that you can have. So yes, you know, it takes time, and you've got to plug away at it and attend lots of squash clubs, you know, around the country, but you can move up and go to some wonderful places, meet some wonderful people, and it's definitely worth it. It is a stressful time, and it would be great to have more women. We need to try and get more women, and by doing that we need to make women feel welcome, feel involved. You know, and it can be very daunting when you walk into a room and there's 15 men and you're the only female, you know, but once you get to know everybody and everybody sees that you're there to do the same job as them, then I think, you know, it'll take time. I think with any sport, you've always got that male and that female divide, and we've just got to keep plugging away and try and get those females out into the refereeing side of things. If you look in the crowds at a squash match, a venue, on the squash courts, predominantly it's men playing squash. We're doing our best, and England squash have played a big part. There's lots of groups out there to try and get women involved in squash, but I think historically it has been a male sport, you know, at club level, definitely. There's far more males play squash than women. You know, as I said, we're trying to get more women into playing squash, and I think if you can get more women that are aware of the sport, get them interested in playing, seeing what a great atmosphere it is, and then take it from there. The world of squash, whether it's because of the commitments that women have, you know, and find it hard to get away from home, to justify going and playing squash when you've got kids and a family, you know, I don't know whether that has bearing on it, but it just always seems to be so much easier for men to go and have a game of squash rather than women, whether that times are changing now, but I don't know if that's the excuse or that's the reason why girls play as juniors and then we don't see as many making that transition into senior squash. They seem to fall by the by, whether it be for careers or families, so there always seems to be a gap, you know, in women, whether it referees, players. Like I said, I play a lot of leagues, local leagues, and very, very few women. The Yorkshire League, there is no longer a women's Yorkshire League when 30 years ago it was really strong, you know, so I'm not really sure why, and it's a difficult one, but obviously if you've not got the women players, then you've not got the women referees following on, you know, it's a tough one. But as I said, the PSA and England Squash are working hard to try and get women involved, so hopefully from these players that get involved we will be able to eke some referees out of there in a few years' time. If you can do a good job and let them know that you're consistent and, you know, you want the game to flow, I think it should be irrelevant whether it's a male or a female. It's all about the job that you're doing.